Before we get to our show, here is a podcast we think you're going to love.
Hi, I'm Mike, the All Hallows Geek.
And I'm Miranda from Spooky Little Halloween.
Over the years, we've each interviewed dozens of Halloween and horror creators, entertainers, and small business owners during the Halloween season for each of our respective websites.
Each of us has explored a bit about what those folks are working on and about their love of Halloween, but in a shortened live format on social media, we were just scraping the surface.
So, we got to thinking, why limit it to just social media in the Halloween season? And why not combine our interview talents to bring Halloween lovers a podcast where they can hear stories about their favorite content creators, small business owners, and industry professionals year-round?
So gather round by Pumpkin's Light as we catch up with the who's who of Halloween and get to the heart of their love for our favorite holiday.
With new episodes every other week arriving on your favorite podcast platforms, we're doing our part to make each and every day feel like Halloween.
Wow. Okay, Samantha, are you ready? Are you ready to rock?
That's the new intro to the show.
Yeah. Are you ready to rock? And then everybody goes, "Oh my God, no!" Not when you say it. That sounds
Stop it.
terrible. I'm going to go take a nap or whatever the opposite of rocking is. Anyway, this is Perhaps It's You. It's an unofficial Unsolved Mysteries rewatch podcast, and my name is Liz.
And my name is Samantha.
And we're here today to talk to you about the classic episodes of Unsolved Mysteries featuring your favorite host of all time, Robert Stack.
Or Bob, as he's called in this episode.
That's weird, and I don't like it.
Thanks, Bob.
When nicknames don't have the same first letter as the name, my brain really does not process that as the same person. I don't know.
I've never thought of Bob and Robert like that, but you're right. It doesn't make sense.
I mean, I get where it comes from, and I get that those are the same name, but if I regularly called someone Robert, and in my mind they were Robert, and then you came in and you're like, "Where's Bob?" I would not know who you were talking about.
How do you feel about William and Billy?
Yeah, no, that's a stretch. It's a stretch. I don't like it. No one has to care about this opinion of mine, but it's just, I don't know. It's just not how my brain organizes information.
I'm gonna need all bills to go by Will from now on.
Yeah, please. Or just like realize that if someone goes, "Where's William?" and I think of you as Billy, that I'll be like, "I don't know a William. I've never met a William in my life." Okay, so how are you today, my dear?
I'm good. How are you?
I mean, I'm hanging in there. It's very hot today, so I just think I'm gonna stay indoors.
It's sweltering out there. I realize there's places in this world that get a lot hotter than we do here in the north part of the country, good old Minnesota, but it is quite hot today.
If they don't have our humidity, then I don't want to hear about it. But if they do, then fine, we can complain together. Yeah. Something I've been thinking about lately is that I feel like to some people being outside is somehow morally superior to being inside. That like doing outdoor activities are somehow like morally better than doing indoor activities.
It's true. A lot of people seem to have this belief.
And I was like, no.
If it's a nice day, it's like a crime to be inside.
Right.
I was definitely kind of raised that way.
I am an indoor child, and I want justice. I want justice for indoor activities as perfectly acceptable selections.
I need a think piece on why this is. Is it like a back to nature fallacy, or is it like, is this a Midwest? Is it unique to Minnesota where like we only have so many nice days
a year?
I don't think so. You feel like you have to take advantage of them and be outside. Like I want to know like what is the reason behind this?
I know what you're talking about, but I think it's more universal than that. And I assume it's from a time when like you needed that vitamin D. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but I take a spray. I take a vitamin spray. I've got plenty of vitamin D. Don't worry.
I feel like people, I mean, maybe not even consciously, but I feel like maybe it has something to do with an idea that like being inside on a nice day is seen as lazy.
Yeah,
like you should be out there being productive and like, I don't know, doing yard work or something. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, it's dumb reasons, certainly, but
if I'm just like sitting outside reading a book, is that morally better than me sitting inside reading a book?
well, no, objectively, no, it's not.
But you're
those
probably
are both morally neutral as far as I'm concerned.
You're probably right. It probably does come from like a puritanical work ethic. Like you should be up, like feeding the chickens and like doing your chores and stuff.
Right.
And if you're still inside, that means you're being a sloth.
Yeah.
But they're actually all morally neutral. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's summer. Like fucking, you should be lounging.
Yeah.
Reading a book.
Actually,
or not scrolling through TikTok. I mean,
I'll do what I want. Thanks. Thanks, everybody. I don't have to be on a jet ski right now. Is my point, everyone. It's not
if
a
you are
requirement.
on a jet ski, it's good for you.
Hope someone is listening to this podcast while jet skiing. Please write in. That's perhaps it's you podcast@gmail.com. Tell us about your jet ski adventures. But also, that life is not for me. My skin does not like the sun. You know, I have a chronic illness where I do not have that much energy. I got to conserve my energy, right? I can't be just like jet skiing around willy-nilly. I want to have energy left for the things I need to do. I cannot spend all of my time like parasailing and shit.
Well, parasailing is very dangerous. Don't parasail it, you guys. Please don't.
Okay.
But I mean, maybe jet skiing is dangerous too. I don't fucking know. I'm also not going to be on a jet ski. I'm going to be on the shoreline in a lounge chair under an umbrella.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's my point. Everybody's like, yeah, Liz, thanks for that. I'm giving you permission just to relax.
Maybe this is the reminder I needed to kick up the heels and just enjoy life and summer. And yeah,
you don't have to be rushing around. You know?
Yeah, I do know. Yeah.
Okay, so the only update I have for this podcast, and I'm sorry, 5 listeners, this might make you a little bit sad, but we are going to take August and September off.
4 episodes into season 8, and we are already taking a hiatus.
Look, Samantha needs some healing time.
I do. Yeah.
She's going to be, am I allowed to say you're having back surgery? Is that a secret?
Yeah. I was expecting you to say that I'm going to be in jail for violating the terms of my parole from robbing the Chuck E. Cheese.
I totally forgot that I made up this complicated story. I don't know if you listen to our Patreon, I don't know that this came up on the regular episode, but there was once an episode where Mac filled in for Samantha, and Mac claimed that you were in jail for robbing a Chuck E. Cheese. And that you had used a label maker to put your name and address on the weapon, and then had left it behind. And that's how you
I forgot that detail.
And that's how you got caught. Well, yeah. So anyway, you violated the terms of your parole. And what happened is, I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with this, but Chuck E. Cheese, sometimes on like DoorDash or whatever, they list their pizza for sale under different names because, you know, you're a sane person and you are in the mood for pizza. You're not going to order it from fucking Chuck E. Cheese. That sounds disgusting.
So some rat pizza.
Yeah. So they call it, I don't even know what, like Papa Italiano or something.
It's probably different everywhere. They have a ghost kitchen.
Yeah.
Participate in that scam.
So that you like order your pizza, you think it's from like some local pizzeria, and then it shows up and you're like, this is fucking Chuck E. Cheese. What the hell? It's this weird scam. It turns out ordering the pizza from the ghost kitchen, even though you didn't know it was Chuck E. Cheese, that does technically violate your parole. So now you have to go in and serve the rest of your sentence. It's a real bummer. But that's apparently 6 weeks, right? You've got 2 months, 6 weeks, 2 months. You got to go in and, you know, you're going to be in the yard doing your weights. You know, that stuff. Prison stuff.
Clink.
Yeah, you're going to be in
the Chuck E. Cheese.
You're going to be in the clink. So for August and September, there will be no new episodes of Perhaps It's You. I'm thinking maybe we'll release some of our reboot Patreon episodes from the vault.
Idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. Some vault content.
Yeah, you could have a little. We'll open up the Perhaps It's You vault, and but there will be no new episodes during that time.
We are planning on
very sorry.
Still releasing Patreon. I mean, like, don't quote us if this doesn't happen, but we are going to try and release like pre-record some Patreon content. So if you're paying for our bonus episodes, if you're giving us money, we're hoping to keep that service going. So
we do want your money. So we're gonna try our best to get those Patreon episodes out. Patreon shouldn't be delayed or whatever.
Yeah,
but
Patreon shouldn't be affected. So, and not that like we want to put our content behind a paywall, but if you're already paying for our episodes and you are looking forward to that content, that will not go on hiatus.
Yeah, because we want the money. I mean,
yeah.
So we have an address on our website, perhapsitsyou.com. Look under contact if you want to send Samantha some get well soon cards.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Which you should do, because otherwise she will not get well. She will get bad.
Oh no, I'll get bad.
If she doesn't get those get well soon cards, she won't know what to do. She will get well slowly.
It's true. And if you have any, like, so I'm gonna be like, I can't bend, lift, or twist for 6 weeks. I'm not really sure what I can do. I guess sit in bed. So for 6 weeks straight. So if you have like streaming recommendations or shows that have like, I don't know, approximately 500 episodes.
Yeah,
let me know. I plan to read a lot of books, but I'm not sure how many books. You know, I mean, I can read a lot of books. We know that, but something else might be nice. So send me, your feel good or whatever. Feel bad. I don't know. Streaming recommendations.
Network shows that have been on for years have 900 episodes that Samantha can just really like plow through.
Mm-hmm. Is this the year I finally do that ER rewatch?
Oh,
maybe.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe. I'm considering it. We'll see.
Maybe you and Travis can rewatch all of Bones.
You're like,
ew. Why are you punishing me for having back surgery, Liz?
He would love that. I know your recommendation was that I watch Gordon Ramsay's entire back catalog.
Yeah, everything.
So,
all 900 of his shows. I think you should watch them all.
There's some stuff of his that I haven't seen. I mean, I haven't seen most of Hell's Kitchen because I don't really like that show. I haven't seen that show he did where it was like Gordon Ramsay on cocaine.
What?
Literally what it's called. Yeah, he like did some documentary about cocaine, I think, and that was like called Gordon Ramsay on cocaine. Not that he was like doing cocaine, but like talking about it. Bizarre.
Okay, well, I mean, that would explain how he has so many restaurants and does so many things.
Honestly,
it explains a lot now that you say it. It's like, oh yeah, that was there in plain sight.
You know what? I'm Googling this to make sure I didn't hallucinate it. On cocaine. Oh yeah, no, this is true. Gordon Ramsay on Cocaine is a TV series. There's one season. You can stream it on Discovery Plus, Amazon Prime, or the Roku channel. Yeah, this is real. I was like, did I make that up? No. Gordon Ramsay on cocaine.
I wouldn't think you would make it up, to be fair. That sounds pretty silly.
Gordon Ramsay explores the global cocaine trade. Why?
I assume to get new connections. He's a chef, Samantha.
You know, the restaurant industry does kind of run on stimulants. So maybe this isn't that off base, but
he was like, my supplier, I can do better. Let's just turn. And then, of course, because it's him, he's like, well, we got to
really, this is really just research.
Yeah. He's like, we got to make a whole show about it so I can write all this off. He wanted tax-free cocaine purchases is what it is.
Don't we all?
Okay. So that's great. Maybe I'll talk Samantha into making an Amazon wish list and she can put some books on there.
Oh, sure.
If you're feeling extra generous, you could send Samantha a book for while she's bedridden, like a Victorian waif. just laying there very glamorously.
That's how you can imagine. I'm sure it's not gonna be glamorous at all. But if you're gonna picture me, yeah, on a
fainting couch in like a full like ball gown type outfit, just with one hand on your forehead, like
that's gonna be my recovery.
Yeah, honestly, I think you'd recover faster in more comfortable clothes, but that's up to you. Okay, I just wanted to say for the Snacks with Stacks segment. I don't know if people can still get the Grimace shake, but it's good.
The Grimace shake? I'm not going to say how many Grimace shakes I've consumed. The McDonald's, I discovered that the McDonald's by my house puts like extra purple, like flavoring in their Grimace shakes, and they're really good. And so I've made a few detours on my trips about town to get some Grimace shakes. It tastes like blueberry. I know there's like some debate on like, is it wild berry? Is it blueberry? What is the difference between those two things? I don't know, but I think it tastes like blueberry, which is like my favorite flavor. So
I feel like it tastes specifically like blueberry yogurt. My nephew was like, no, it's like off-brand strawberry. And I was like, I don't think
it doesn't
that's
taste
true.
like strawberry to me at all.
I was
It's
like,
definitely blueberry.
Landon, you're 10. I don't think you know what you're talking about. But he specifically was like, it's off-brand strawberry, which was a take I had not seen.
Yeah, I'm not sure anyone else thinks that, but it
it didn't turn me into like a zombie or any of those TikTok
oh god,
trends.
the memes. Yeah.
I assume that's just because the children don't know who Grimace is because they haven't used any of those characters in a really long time. And then they were just like, hey, millennials, here's Grimace. And we were like, yay! And they were just like, what the fuck? Why is this like purple blob here? Why is he named Grimace? Why do you want that associated with your food?
It is very strange.
Super strange, and I love it. So yeah, I would say get one of those if you haven't yet. If you can
still. I don't know how long they're
available.
I think it was just through June, but they're very good.
Okay, if you can't get one of those, I'm gonna say that Popeyes has this mango lemonade, which is lemonade with mango puree in it. It's fantastic.
That sounds incredible.
It's really, really
also,
good.
get one to go and just put a little extra zhuzh or something in there.
Yeah,
like by the pool. Yeah, sounds fantastic.
If
you turned me on to the Sun-Kissed soda. Speaking of mango, the mango orange Sun-Kissed is fantastic.
It's hard to find.
Although it's becoming easier. It was only at Walmart, but then it came to My Cub Foods that I regularly grocery shop at. So look around. Maybe you'll find it.
I don't drink a ton of pop in general, but this is like, it's real good.
Okay, so also they just came out with a watermelon lemonade Sun-Kissed that also is like new. When I was shopping for the mango, I found this one, and I honestly think that it might be a little bit better. It's very good. It's very refreshing.
Wow.
But it is like regular soda. I mean, I generally drink diet, so I'm usually not like a regular soda person, but it's very good. Very summery.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll try it. I feel like you saying it's better than the mango is a bold claim, but I haven't had it yet.
It's very good. I also got, but I haven't tried yet. There's a cherry limeade. I don't think it's a new flavor, but there's a Sun-Kissed cherry limeade. When I picked up the mango when I was at my grocery store the last time, they also had this cherry limeade.
I assume it's only a matter of time until the Sun-Kissed universe comes to us in movie form, and we get a movie about the mango orange Sun-Kissed and how it was made. A battle between the mango and the watermelon Sun-Kissed. Who will win?
A fight to the death.
Yeah, I assume there's like ninjas and lasers, and that's where we are at as a culture.
Yes, it's great. I'd see it. Obviously.
You know what? I probably would. If they make some like stupid tie-in thing at the theater, like I could get a Sun-Kissed slushie or some shit, I probably would be there. So I don't know why I'm acting like I'm above all this. Yesterday we found out that what's that place called? Outback Steakhouse makes some cocktail that they literally just put a plastic shark toy in the drink. And we are immediately like, yes, I want that.
It's a blue drink. I'm not sure like what the base cocktail is, but inside the shark's like body is grenadine, and so you pour it out, and like like blood is supposed to come out into your drink.
It's so
incredible.
Stupid. I want it so bad.
I don't know if I've ever been. I think I've maybe been to an Outback Steakhouse once in my life.
I hope I'm not bothered. It's real bland. It's like super expensive and like not.
That's why we never went, because my mom was always like, it's gross and it's not good and it's expensive.
It's kind of expensive, and I feel like all the food is like very bland. And
then we would go to the Chili's.
Yeah, you're like, well, this is not for us. We're a family that appreciates fine dining. To the Chili's we go. I have not been to an Outback Steakhouse in a long time. The onion is good. I think it has the calories of like 3 Big Macs or something outrageous. It's like so bad for you. The bloomin' onion. That's good. I guess we could just get cocktails and an onion, but we'll We'll be so hungry.
So anyway, we're going to Outback Steakhouse pretty soon to get a bloomin' onion and those shark cocktails.
Just a bunch of shark. We should just have Mac drop us off, drink a bunch of shark cocktails, and then have Mac pick us up.
That sounds great to me.
Okay, anyway, that's Snacks with Stack. I'm sure Robert Stack would be so glad that we talk about these things in his memory. I'm sure he would love to pour grenadine out of a plastic shark's mouth.
Robert Stack would rather die, I'm sure, than go to an Outback Steakhouse and get a shark cocktail with a toy shark floating in it.
The first time my family and I went to an Outback Steakhouse, and I don't recall us ever going again, but this was in like the mid 90s. Let's say it was like 95 or 96. Our waiter talked with a fake Australian accent the whole time. And I don't know if that was like very briefly company policy. I assume he was just fucking with us and probably did not like working there. But that is my association with it forever. Is this like kid coming over to our table and being like, "Good day, mate," and then proceeding to talk like that the entire time he talked about like the specials or whatever the fuck.
I hope he's doing well.
Yeah, that king, wherever you are. Great job at the Wheaton, Illinois Outback Steakhouse. Some almost 30
As a
years
kid,
ago.
did you think his accent was real or did you think it was fake? Were you like really impressed? Like, oh, there's a real Australian here.
No, it was fake as hell. It was so bad. And he was like down on one knee.
Why?
I don't to like talk more directly. Like I don't know. Girl, I don't know.
Okay, he either took his job super seriously or not seriously at all. There's like no in between. It's one or the two.
And the thing is, I don't know. I couldn't tell you which. Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So we are really going to talk about Unsolved Mysteries. We are on season 8 somehow, and we are on episode 4.
And we will have one more episode before our hiatus, I think.
Yeah.
You know, the week of what is that? July 17th. So look forward to that. And then I guess look forward to us returning after 2 months.
Yeah. Well, we'll let the anticipation build, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It's not like it's the first time we've taken time off, so
yeah.
We're not going to talk about that. Okay, so we are on episode 4 of season 8 of Unsolved Mysteries, and we have a UFO mystery to start us off. This is, I think, like a pretty like well-known. I don't know if like the Unsolved Mysteries segment is well-known, but I know that I've like heard about this UFO case before.
I'm honestly jealous that you got this one because I love the New Mexico mysteries, and so I'm a little bit pissed at you.
This is a New Mexico one. So this is I don't know what like this officially was called. This was Lonnie Zamora's UFO sighting. I don't know like what this is like the New Mexico. I don't fucking know. Anyway. Oh, the Socorro UFO. Maybe that's what it's called. I don't know.
You're like,
they have like names, right? Like Roswell, you know.
Sure.
Well, I mean, this happened in Socorro, New Mexico, so maybe that's what it's called. Okay, on April 24th, 1964, in the small town of Socorro, New Mexico, police officer Lonnie Zamora spotted a local teenager speeding through town. Not on his watch. Officer Zamora followed the teenager to the edge of Socorro and out into the desert. But Robert Stack said he had no idea the strange twist his life was about to take.
No, I bet he really did not.
So Lonnie sees something, and this is how he describes it. A white object to his left. At first, he thought it was a turned over car, but when he got up to the top of the mesa, he looked down and saw this big white object on the ground. He describes it as looking like a craft, and he also could see some figures that were walking around it. They were like white clad figures. They looked human in the reenactment, but like they were maybe there to investigate it. So according to Lonnie, there were red markings on the hull, a vertical arrow with a horizontal line beneath it, and a crescent-shaped line above it. Lonnie tried to radio police headquarters, but was not able to break through heavy static. After hearing 2 metallic sounds that were like doors clanging shut, he noticed that the small figures were gone. This is how he describes what happens next. A flame came from underneath the craft. He ran behind his car, and the craft went up about 20 or 30 feet into the air. It just hovered there for a while, and then finally it took off slowly to the west. It took him a while to kind of like come to his senses and realize what he just saw. At first, he was like, "Did I really just see that?" But as soon as the craft was gone, his radio was suddenly static free. So he called an old friend. This is Sergeant Sam Chavez of the New Mexico State Police, and told him to hurry to the site. So we hear from Sam Chavez, who says that he could tell that Lonnie was excited and probably scared. But Zamora was normally a very like dependable, steady, honest type of person, and not one that you would expect to like make up stories or to see something and think it was an alien craft, unless it was like, you know, something truly weird. When Sam arrived, he and Lonnie noticed what looked like landing marks on the ground. They described it as indentations on the ground where the thing had landed. The marks into the ground, like they're about like 8 or 9 inches deep and about 8 inches long, and 9 inches wide. So like kind of like a square of this like indent into the ground. They started looking for like human tracks around the area. But the only thing they found were impressions in the ground that were made by a perfect circle. No human tracks, no shoe prints or anything. So U.S. Army officials at the nearby White Sands Missile Range sent Captain Richard T. Holder to investigate. His first impression was that it was something from the range that needed possible help. Like
what?
I have no idea.
I want to know more about that, like what he thought it would be.
Yeah, and was it him who concluded that it could have been like a secret like Air Force craft? And it was like, how do you not know about this if you are the military guy? But
well, it's secret even from him, Samantha.
I guess.
That I would say in all of these cases is usually my default position is that, you know, particularly like this guy Lonnie, he seems very trustworthy. He seems like just like a humble dude. He does not seem like someone who is making shit up. And that's, you know, verified by these other people that he talks to later where they're like, yeah, it's like he's trustworthy, you know, whatever. So I am inclined to believe he saw something.
Oh, me too. Yeah, he saw something for sure.
And then, but that I don't usually go jump to, and that means it was from outer space. Like, right. There is a lot of, I can't even think of my words today, but there is a lot of military testing and development in the deserts of New Mexico because there's like nothing else out there.
Oh, sure.
So it is, but also this guy could have known what it was and he's not supposed to say, right?
True. Yeah, that's true. So this Holder guy comes out and he does see the unusual marks in the sand, and he says that everything he saw supported the story that Officer Zamora recounted, and that nothing gave him the slightest indication that Officer Zamora was pulling a hoax or trying to like, I don't know, get attention or fame or fortune or something.
No, I don't think so.
So after their investigation, the Air Force agreed that Lonnie saw something, but they insisted that it must have been a secret military aircraft, which is like weird for the military to admit. I don't know. I found that strange.
They're like, it's from the military, but like a different branch of the military.
And it's a secret.
Like the military,
the military doesn't usually like confirm that they have like they're doing like secret stuff. Like,
that's true.
I mean, everybody knows that they are, but like they don't come out and be like, yeah, that thing you saw was a secret. Just don't.
You know how there's like this huge part of our budget that we say we can't tell you what it's for security reasons? Well, and then they just like look away.
Gotta go.
Yeah. No details required.
So, UFO expert and author Jerome Clark said that the official explanation does not make sense. He said they were never able to find any evidence that anything was being tested at the time. And in fact, even today, there's not any evidence that emerged to support that claim. Nonetheless, the Air Force claim on the case is that this is a credible witness. He clearly saw some kind of structure flying, some sort of vehicle, but that it must be something that we built, even if we can't find it anywhere.
I must have made this and I don't remember, and I'm sorry about it.
It's just a weird explanation.
the more we talk about this, the more I'm wondering if they know exactly what it is, but they're not supposed to say. So they're just like, hey, look, who knows? Maybe the Navy made that thing. I gotta go.
Yeah. It's very weird. So we get this what's his name? Hynek. J. Allen Hynek. We've seen him before. He's a respected astronomer and consultant on Project Blue Book, the Air Force's official study of the UFO phenomenon. Dr. Hynek found the physical evidence convincing, but according to Jerome Clark, the most persuasive argument was Lonnie Zamora himself. So what he says is that this is Hynek said that he was impressed by Lonnie Zamora. He thought that there was virtually no possibility of a hoax, is what he said. He expressed he didn't like how the military handled the report and said that it was clear that the story that Blue Book had cooked up about the possibility of it being some kind of experimental aircraft was a story that even Blue Book knew to be untrue. So that's the mystery is what happened. I was gonna look up the Unsolved Mysteries wiki. I thought I saw something when I was Googling this while I was watching the episode about people thinking that it was like some teenagers playing a hoax, but I don't remember. And Unsolved Mysteries wiki doesn't have anything, so that's as much looking into that as I'm gonna do.
That'd be
I will say the like
elaborate hoax.
Well, it also was really big. Like the reenactment made it look like it looked like a blimp, honestly.
Where are the kids getting money for this elaborate hoax?
I don't know.
Lonnie Zamora
incident. Let's just look at Wikipedia. We'll see what that's. Okay, here we go. So this is what Wikipedia says for possible explanations. Several alternative explanations have been presented. UFO skeptic Stuart Campbell has suggested that what Zamora observed was almost certainly, quote, a mirage.
What? A mirage?
Okay, a mirage of the star Canopus. This is the brightest star in the southern sky. Interesting. I have no idea what that means. I'm not even sure that doesn't make any sense considering it was like floating near the ground. It's also been suggested that Zamora witnessed the testing of a lunar landing device by personnel from the White Sands Missile Range.
Yep. I would bet on that way over a mirage.
Yeah, that makes more sense to me. Okay, it could have possibly been a prank perpetrated by students from the nearby New Mexico Tech College.
Again, this sounds elaborate and expensive, so that doesn't really make sense to me.
The then president of the New Mexico Tech School, Sterling Colgate.
Okay, that's an amazing name.
He better have the whitest teeth of anyone in the world.
Absolutely.
Sterling Colgate. He supported the idea that students from the school were responsible for the hoax and said that the object observed by Zamora was a, quote, a candle in a balloon, not sophisticated.
Then why did it?
That would be so big. Like,
I'm going to give Lonnie more credit than that, honestly. I just liked him. I believed him. I think if he saw a candle in a balloon, he would go, oh, that's a candle in a balloon. I don't think he would think that it was a UFO.
I don't think Lonnie was, I think he was a little bit brighter than that. So this other UFO, like famous UFO skeptic and researcher, Philip J. Kloss, investigated and determined that it was, quote, unequivocally a hoax, perpetuated in an attempt to increase tourism.
This is slander against Lonnie. I will not
stand for it. The state of New Mexico cook this up?
Okay, honestly, if they did, good for them.
So some people believe he could have been an active participant, and other people believe that he could have been a victim of a hoax. So that's apparently there's some debate about that.
I think it's this lunar module thing.
I mean, that makes honestly the most sense to me.
I'm Team Lonnie. I don't like.
I'm
this
not sure
idea.
why that would be like a super secret, but who knows what the military does. I don't know.
They're secretive about everything.
It's true.
And what was this in the 60s?
Yeah.
They just didn't want the Russians to get it or some fucking bullshit.
Probably.
That's my explanation for everything. I also liked that Lonnie said, if they want to believe me, good. If they don't want to believe me, that's all right too. That doesn't sound like a liar to me.
No, I agree. I found him convincing.
Seemed
I
very
don't think
down
if it
to
was a
earth.
hoax to increase tourism or whatever, maybe they wanted to be the next Roswell. I don't know. I don't think he was an active participant in it. I think he was just a unwitting victim.
Yeah. I don't think it's right to besmirch his character like this.
I agree.
I don't know why. I'm so pro Lonnie, but I am. Okay, now this is. I feel like, look, have I looked into this in any way? No. But it seems to me like Unsolved Mysteries got a little retooled before season 8, and they were like, we're going to make it just a little bit wackier.
No, they absolutely did. They've added all kinds of weird shit. They've got correspondence. They've got this woman in the call center who like throws it back to Bob. It's weird.
So yeah, we did get an unnecessary update about that car accident case in Mexico where the doctors helped those tourists on like Christmas Eve.
Unsolved Mysteries hosts a reunion in like a church basement for those people.
Okay.
It's weird. I don't know.
They're apparently like great friends now. They like see each other once a year. So yeah, they had this correspondent come in to tell us about it, but I was like, we already talked about this case. We're moving on.
Yeah, we're skipping it. It's just a reunion. Like they met each other. Great. The end.
Right. Okay. So I get to talk about a miracle, and it is okay. So when it comes to spiritual matters on this podcast, neither Samantha and I have very spiritual lives. In fact, we have no spiritual lives whatsoever. So
Yes.
we try. I'm not saying we succeed, but I'm saying that we try to be respectful when we talk about these sorts of cases from the miracle segment. And I realize
we 100% believe the thing about Lourdes.
Yeah, we are true Lourdes believers. I know not everyone appreciated us drinking that healing water, but
it's not holy water. You're supposed to drink it, or you can drink it.
You can drink it.
They sell it to be drank.
So I'm just saying that I know, perhaps our tone is not always appreciated when discussing religious matters. And we try our
this segment really warrant this level of
yeah.
This is like the most unserious thing I've ever seen on this show. Just saying something.
But yeah, we try to be open-minded to the religious things and say people are entitled to their beliefs. However,
if someone listening believes this segment,
however,
I don't know what to tell you.
I am 100% sure, with no level for doubt, that these people are just looking at the sun. And if that, I don't know, somehow spiritually enhances their lives, I guess great. But I don't think that they are having visions.
Remember?
They're burning their corneas.
Remember when our former president stared at an eclipse?
That's all I could think about the whole time.
Do you think he was having a religious experience?
At some point, I can't even remember who, some stupid right-wing pundit guy was like, it just doesn't seem true to me that Donald Trump would fill his home with all of these documents. He's just smarter than that. And then, then everybody was like, I saw that man stare at the sun. Like, what are you talking about? He's smarter than that. He's a grown man and he stared at an eclipse. The other thing I thought about was that as a small child, I realized that if you looked at a light and looked away, you see bright colors.
Uh-huh.
And so I did
that. Did you think that those were angels?
No, but I did it repeatedly while jumping on my bed to sort of create my own disco experience.
Okay. Well, look, you were a child, which I feel like that could be excused. If you were a grown-ass adult.
My dad came in and was like, what are you doing? Quit staring at that light bulb and jumping around. Because I was like, whoa, this is great. I'm sure there's no negative things that could possibly happen from staring at a light bulb and jumping on a bed. Anyway, I think this is very similar to that experience that I was having. So perhaps
it's adults.
Perhaps that was a spiritual experience that I was having at, I don't know, 5. Okay, but anyway, I would like more details about why people go twice a month. But twice a month on the second.
It would make more sense if it was like an annual thing based on like where the sun is in the sky.
Yeah, that would make a lot more sense.
It's always going to be different, like every month.
But they go on the 2nd and the 23rd. And I was also like, the calendar that we use is actually like not really that old. I don't see why God would respect like our current calendar, but whatever.
I don't know.
But people flock to this small hillside in Kentucky where visions of the Blessed Mother have been reported. And apparently Robert Stack was too lazy to go to a hill in Kentucky himself.
And stare at the sun. Look, this is I want to be in the pitch room at Unsolved Mysteries for this season where they're like, okay, Stack, how do you feel about going into a cage with a tiger? No? All right, well, you got to send Susan. All right, Stack, how do you feel about going and standing on a hill in Colorado and staring at the sun? No? All right, Susan, sorry, we got you booked for 2 trips.
Yeah.
I don't remember this woman's name.
Her name was
Susan.
It's Jackie Hayes.
Okay, Jackie Hayes.
And so she's sent to investigate. So she goes to Springfield, Kentucky. It's on Route 55. It's about an hour southwest of Louisville.
Why did I think this was Colorado?
I don't know. I think they did mention Colorado at some point, but that's not where this is.
I keep saying Colorado. I don't know why.
Okay, so this is what they're seeing. The site has a sign that reads Our Lady of Valley Hill. And people come in the hopes of healing illnesses or getting spiritual enlightenment or whatever, because people are having visions that include bursts of color and showers of golden flakes. Again,
these are just floaters. These are just go to the optometrist.
Well, I feel like there could be various vision issues. Perhaps could be attributed to staring at the sun, a thing you are not supposed to do.
No,
so anyway,
that can't be it.
The visions first appeared to Iona Wright, who is the owner of the land, and it's apparently just like letting people come hang out there twice a month. She describes
charging like admission.
It didn't seem like it.
I feel like she should clean up on this.
Maybe she lets
come to my house and stare at the sun. $5 an hour. Also, you could like get a I don't know, a slushy truck, have it pull up.
Okay, see now I'm like, well, just get a cocktail with a shark in it and I'm there. So
I'm not staring at the sun though.
No, I'll just look at the people watching is gonna be great. I'll just see it. I'll look at people who are staring at the sun. She describes the visions as the same as looking at a movie, which considering they're just like brightly colored dots, I was like, what movie are you watching?
Worst movie of all time.
Yeah, something very experimental. On the day the correspondent was there, she was one of 300 visitors, and apparently a third of the people present claimed to see visions inspired by God. In the footage that she films, one kid just keeps saying, "It looks like blood. It looks like blood."
We're getting out of here.
That kid, wherever you are, I want to be friends. Okay. Other people say they saw a rosary, a gateway to heaven, Jesus, Mary, all the usuals. And then perhaps the most dramatic episode involved a Sunday school teacher who was there with 8 students previously. They visited in 1995. When a girl named Mandy pointed out that the sun looked like it was moving and had rings around it. And again, Mandy, you are staring at the sun. Don't do that. Your optometrist is going to be so mad at you. So anyway, she pointed out,
you know that these people that are interviewed by this correspondent insist that they were not looking at the sun when they saw the bright lights and the dots.
To the correspondent's credit, she does directly ask them, so you were staring at the sun. And everybody's like, no, I know you're not supposed to do that. I looked like away from the sun. And it's like, no, you didn't.
They literally told her when she asked what the visions looked like, they said it looked like spots in my vision. And she was like, were you looking at the sun when you saw these spots?
Are you getting an aurora from a migraine? Anyway. And they
were like, no, we know you're not supposed to look at the sun. It's not good for your eyes. We were looking to the side of the sun.
This girl literally says it looks like the sun was moving. So, Mandy, you were staring at the sun. I'm on to you.
I feel like you also don't need to stare directly into the sun. If you're looking near, if you're looking off to the right of the sun, that's still not good.
Oh, that's still very bright light. Yeah. See, I'm gonna make the opposite argument. You should be indoors where it's safe.
This supports our theory that being inside is just as good as being outside. In fact, these people probably could have used a little more time inside.
Yeah, just watch TV like normal people.
I guarantee none of them are wearing sunscreen.
Ugh, yeah, true.
I didn't see a single hat.
Recently, someone told me that they don't believe in sunscreen.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
You're gonna get skin cancer.
Made me very tired.
Wear sunscreen, I'm begging you.
She was like, I'm not putting chemicals on my skin to protect it from the sun. And I was sort of like, okay, that's how you get skin cancer.
Stop. I'm begging you.
Okay, anyway, Mandy was looking at the sun and it was moving around and it appeared to spin and change colors. And I was kind of like, yeah, it'll
What
do
is
that.
God trying to say? Okay, let's just entertain the idea that this is a message from God. What is he trying to say?
That's a really good question that I don't have an answer to. Maybe Mandy does. I guess that he's real.
This is a message for Mandy alone.
That God is real, that God is love. That
Is
you
there
should
a more
believe.
clear way he could send that message, or no?
And making the sun look like it's spinning around. Look, who am I to question his mysterious ways?
That's true.
Okay, so then one of the students said that she had gold sparkles on her, which prompted the Sunday school teacher to take a Polaroid photo of her.
Oh, I forgot about the Polaroids.
So, okay, what you may not be aware of is that actual film is very light sensitive. And if you use a cheap camera, the light gets into the film and causes these things called light leaks, which are just like lines of where the light hit the film when you didn't necessarily want it to, right? It's not part of your
messages from God.
It's not part of the developed image. It's like a flaw. Well, I don't know.
Believe in this.
I don't know what this bitch was doing with her Polaroid camera, but she was not, I'm not that familiar with these type of Polaroids, but she was like not inserting the cartridges very well. So they were getting exposed to light and they were getting these like light leaks on them that the children are insisting are angels. And you're just going like, no, that's just like the film.
I love that they brought in a film expert.
Oh, he's actually a paranormal investigator.
Oh, why did I think he was like a...
So you
I guess because he was talking so much about the Polaroids. I guess I assumed that he was an expert on Polaroids.
You would... Well, also, you might think this guy would be a believer because he's like a paranormal dude. This guy, Dr.
He's got two brain cells rubbed together, so I think...
This guy was named Dr. Joe Nickel. So he's the one that points out, look... These are just light leaks. These are not like visions or something. And one of the photos had words in it that it was a double exposure. So if you run film through a camera twice before processing it, you can get a double exposure, which is like 2 images on one thing of film, right? Well, this had like words exposed on the film. And what the guy points out so hilariously is that in the pack of film, there's like an instruction card with like a little table. And he even holds it up to the photo. And it's just clearly that imprinted on the film. Like that got exposed to light and is like has the words on it and then got put into the camera. And it like lines up.
What if God
perfectly.
was trying to give you instructions on how to use your camera?
Well, okay, that would be fair because this girl does not know how to use a camera. She did need...
It makes sense, Liz. It makes sense.
She did need Jesus to come down from the heavens and be like, you are very bad at... Oh, I don't know why he talks like that, but whatever. You are very bad at using a camera. Right? Because she's not good at it. She's ruining all her photos. But the girls all think this is like a gravestone that has like this dead child's name on it. And it's like literally the instructions of how to use Polaroid film. Amazing.
Can you read the words?
They were like kind of distorted.
Does it say insert film into
basically,
camera?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Like as excuse me, but this is a child who died.
And it's like actually it says
1918.
It says
and
no.
Her name was Polaroid.
Well, that's the coincidence is that this girl is talking about her dead cousin, but her dead cousin was named Polaroid film. So you can see why there was a confusion, right?
Yeah.
Because she was like, oh, right. That's not because my cousin's dead. It's because you used Polaroid. I get it now. But no. Obviously, the believers are not convinced by this incredibly calm scientific evidence, right? Mm-hmm. This is where you go just like, oh, shit. Yeah, that's clear. It's like the guy holding up that beaver. Remember that? I think this was with Ogopogo, where the guy holds up the picture of the Ogopogo and then holds up the picture of the beaver, and they look exactly the same. And then people are like, no, it's still an Ogopogo. This is like, he holds up the photo of this supposed gravestone with words on it, and then he holds up the instructions for the film, and it's like, look how this lines up. And you're like, okay, that's 100% what it could not be anything else. That explanation makes sense. It like they just got carried up in the moment of staring at the sun too long and probably being dehydrated. And they were like, "Oh, God's telling us
I didn't
things."
see a water bottle anywhere on that hillside, so
You
I think
know,
you're onto something.
it was a very dehydrated time. I look back on my school years. We were not allowed to have any like water bottles or anything in class. We
I
were just supposed to
swear
like
I never drank a sip of water growing up. Like, I
I
do not know how we survived.
you would be, and then you were expected to like go run a mile or some shit. With just like a sip from the drinking fountain while all the kids behind you were going, "Save some for the fishes." How are we still alive?
I don't know.
I would go to lunch and drink like 1 carton of chocolate milk. That was my hydration for the whole day. Anyway, so yes, these people I guarantee are dehydrated,
Staring at the sun.
staring at the sun at this hill in Kentucky and then going, "Jesus wants us to know that we should buy a better camera."
They're also there hoping to get a vision. So,
Yeah,
like,
of
of
course.
course, when they start seeing flares in their vision because their retinas are burning, they're going to interpret that as a vision from God.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised. I'm not convinced by this.
I will let you know that Robert Stack comes back at the end of the segment to say, like, even though believers still believe, he wants you to know that the Catholic Church has not recognized this as a miracle.
Wow,
This is
I'm surprised.
This is not an official miracle. And I looked it up online. There's actually very little information about this place outside of Unsolved Mysteries. I didn't see any new updates. I don't think it ever like got recognized as a miracle or anything like that.
Was anyone actually like healed?
I don't think so.
People just saw spots.
Probably people's health got worse because they probably hurt their eyes.
Some of those people might have skin cancer now.
Yeah, they probably went to be healed and made it worse.
Oh my God.
Samantha, I'm gonna say don't go here to heal your back.
Okay.
That's my
I was
suggestion.
planning a trip, but
yeah, call it off. Call it off.
All right, we have a last love next.
Oh, do we have to?
I mean, no, actually. I mean, we make the rules of this podcast, but for some reason, we enforce very strict.
This
we
made
cover every mystery.
I cried. This made
so
me
sad.
Want to die.
This is usually I love a last love. We know this, but this is just like the most depressing thing imaginable.
Yeah, it's rough.
So these are we're looking for the siblings of Debbie Hamilton. In 1968, Dorothy and Robert Neese of Napa, California, welcomed 2 5-year-old foster children, Mark and Tammy Gardner, into their home. Mark and Tammy were fraternal twins. They had been severely abused, both physically and emotionally. They were developmentally disabled, and Tammy had trouble walking and talking. For the Reese's 5-year-old daughter, Debbie, none of that mattered. She was happy to finally have 2 siblings. She always wanted siblings, and now all of a sudden she had a brother and sister. Tammy at first was scared when she came into the home. But Mark,
because everybody else has been so horrible to her.
Yeah, no, it's awful. Mark, however, opened up quickly, and he would often speak for Tammy, which is really cute.
He's trying to protect her.
Soon, however, both Tammy and Mark began to heal in the supportive atmosphere of the Reese home. A year later, the Reeses fostered 2 more children, siblings 6-year-old Kelly and 4-year-old Terry Clay. The 4 foster siblings and Debbie became very close. They lived as if they were biological siblings. Due to their developmental problems, Mark and Tammy were placed in special education classes, which unfortunately meant that they were severely teased at school. However, Debbie was not going to stand for that, and she would always step in and protect her foster children, her foster siblings.
So
yeah, it's really sweet. We get a little like reenactment of her like stepping in and like saving Tammy from being teased at school.
I'm being like, I heard you pushed my sister. Now I'm gonna push you. See how you like it. I was like, yes, I love this.
It was so sweet. By 1974, the Reese family and the foster children had lived together for 6 years. Dorothy and Robert were planning to adopt all 4 children. However, and we don't know the details of this, but they got into like a really bad argument with the adoption agency. And as a result, they were forced to give the children back.
That's so weird.
Which is like
why
the cruelest thing I can think of. Like, I don't even understand what possibly could have happened that would have resulted in like, well, we're taking these kids away. They're like perfectly adjusted. They're like doing really well. They're, Now you're going to
Yeah.
take 4 children and put them back into the system that's already like taxed when they have a perfectly happy home.
It's
I mean,
terrible.
this makes no sense.
It's just vindictive and cruel.
Yes, and then the children, of course, are the ones that suffer. So, as a result, they were forced to give the children away. Robert decided to tell the children that they had to be given up because of his heart problems. I guess as a way of like, it's like not your fault that this is happening or whatever. He like took it on himself. He like took the blame on himself. Debbie noted that the house was eerily quiet after her foster siblings left. I think this is where I started to tear up, where she was talking about like waking up in the morning and it was like a very boisterous, happy home that was like always loud because there was 5 kids. And all of a sudden it was just her and it was silent. And that must be like, especially for a family that was so close, like the most heartbreaking thing in the entire world. A year passed. In 1975, Debbie was at the stable where she boarded her horse. This was when Mark came for a surprise visit. And I honestly don't know how this came about, but he like got to come to the stable and like visit her.
I think he just knew where the stable was, and maybe he like snuck off or was just wandering around. Like, I think he just like took that on himself to go visit her.
Yeah, we don't actually get told how this like happened, but she came and visited, or he came and visited her in the stable. They hadn't seen each other in a year. They were like thrilled to see each other. But tragically, Mark told her that he and Tammy were being abused by their new foster parents.
Great solution, everybody. Well done.
Yeah, the system worked perfectly. So Dorothy and Robert tried to contact the adoption agency, but they were told not to get involved because they were not their children. And that was the last time Debbie saw Mark.
What a great...
any of her siblings, yeah.
I'm concerned that my former foster children are being abused. Well, let's really mind your own beeswax. Is the response for some reason?
That's horrible. And also, like, the child himself said to us that he was being abused, and this is not, like, worth looking into. Horrible. 20 years passed. Debbie married and began searching for her foster siblings. Finally, in September 1995, she was reunited with Kelly and Terry Clay, but she is still searching for her other long-lost foster siblings, Tammy and Mark Gardner. So let's see. We did get an update at the end of the episode that said that we don't get to see that reunion. We do get to see her and Debbie and Terry and Kelly, and I think must be Debbie's child, having a little picnic. It was very sweet, but we did not get to see the reunion with Mark. So the update in the episode was that Mark was reunited. And Unsolved Mysteries says that on the night of the broadcast, Mark's son was watching and called the telecenter. Within an hour, Debbie and Mark were talking to each other on the phone. Soon after the broadcast, Debbie was reunited with Mark and Tammy. Okay, the episode only said Mark. So apparently she was reunited with both Mark and Tammy after a 20-year separation.
Yeah, what?
It's just they were so close and so happy, and to like lose their entire childhoods together is like, it's so senseless and pointless. And why?
To go on to endure even more abuse. Great.
It's awful. Yeah. So anyway, I normally like A Last Love, but I hated this one. I mean, it had a good ending, but this is horrible.
It's so sad
to watch. So great. It went from like really weird and fun to just like bummer town.
Yeah, I wish they hadn't put the people staring at the sun mystery right next to that. It's a little bit of a roller coaster. Okay, we're going to end it up with an unexplained death. This took place in Dallas, Texas, February 9th, 1995. At 7 a.m., attorney Clint Blackman arrived at his office building. He was not a person who used the notoriously slow elevator, so he took the stairs up to the 3rd floor. At 7:30, Juanita Lackey arrived. A secretary named Roxanne Lederman let her into the building. They both opened the elevator, only to their surprise to find a man dead on the floor. So
that would be surprising.
Particularly so early in the morning. You're just not ready for that. So Clint heard their screams and went to investigate.
Before my coffee?
Yeah, you're like barely awake, or at least me at that. You're like, Liz, I've been up for hours, but at 7:30, no, I'm not processing information well. Anyway, Clint went to go hear their screams. He heard their screams and went to go investigate at the elevator. The man on the floor was that of David Muirfield, who was one of his colleagues at the law firm. He had been shot in the back of the head. He left behind 2 children and his wife. They'd only been married for a couple of months, which is really sad. David was very well liked at his law firm. He was 42 and specialized in real estate law, which is like not particularly dangerous or controversial. So people were confused as to the possible motive. Robbery was quickly ruled out when his wallet was recovered not far from the body. However, it wasn't on the body, which is a little weird. But it still contained his cash and credit cards. So the motivation for that was not to rob him. So there are a couple mustaches in this segment. Everybody has a mustache, essentially. We hear a lot from a detective, Jerry King, who has just a cop mustache. I called it "You Bore Me." I don't know, it's not interesting. Clint Blackman, he's the guy who found the body. He also had a mustache. He's attorney by stairs. And David himself had a mustache, and I forgot to name it, but I'm looking at the Unsolved Mysteries wiki right here, and we're giving this, it's just a brown, kind of standard, almost sort of copish mustache.
Okay.
I'm going to call it No Known Nicknames, because that's what it says here about David. Nicknames,
I feel like
no nicknames.
No nicknames. I like the name for a mustache. I feel like we've talked about this before. We're getting into the realm of like the mustaches we're gonna see. Like mustaches have fallen out of fashion a little bit, and so now like we're only gonna see cop mustaches.
We have 2 lawyer mustaches in this, so I mean, it's something. Anyway, what we learn is that the day before his murder, David received 4 phone calls from someone identifying themselves as Sam Jones, which everybody agrees sound like a fake name. When Sam initially called, he like kept calling and insisting to talk to David, even though like, you know, he's a lawyer and he was busy. And the secretary kept trying to get him to leave a message, but he wouldn't. And so she assumed this is like a sales thing. But the guy was so insistent that eventually she put him through. Which, if you've ever had a screen call, stuff like this sucks, because you're like, well, if this is actually someone important, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to make them mad.
Right.
But if they are actually just some loser, like trying to sell raffle tickets or something, then my boss is going to be mad at me, right? So I feel bad for her. That's a bad situation. Anyway, she eventually put him through. And later, when she asked her boss about it, like, oh, like, what did he try to sell you? He was like, no, actually, he says he's going to do something for me. And she was like, that's weird. But she never got any more information about that. When the police came, they looked through his calendar on his desk and actually saw that he had written down an early morning appointment for the day of his death with a Sam Jones. And it was for 6:30 in the morning. And by all accounts, David did not like to get to the office early, and he would never have suggested that appointment time. He was rarely in before 9 o'clock. But what the secretary heard from someone else is that the caller had said, oh, I have like an early flight and it's very important I see you before I leave. So that he like had to come in at 6:30. But obviously now we know, no, he just wanted him alone in the building, right? Because he was going to kill him. No one ever heard from Sam Jones again. So obviously the person that was calling is probably the killer, because it's not like he called later and said, hey, how come David wasn't there for my appointment?
Right.
Like, you know, he never got his legal advice that he supposedly needed so badly. There was no update on Unsolved Mysteries. There's only a tiny bit on Unsolved Mysteries wiki. What it sounds like is that the police know who did it or suspect they know who did it, but they could never prove it. So this is considered unresolved. There are conflicting reports on whether David's case is closed. According to some sources, including David's niece, the prime suspect in the murder committed suicide in 2007 after being diagnosed with a terminal illness. The police did not publicly identify him, but have since closed the case, believing he was responsible. His motive remains unknown. According to the official Unsolved Mysteries website, however, the Dallas Police Department still considers the case open. What that sounds like to me is they're pretty sure they know who did it and that the person is dead and no longer a threat to anyone or whatever, but it's not something that could be proven in court. I am curious about the motive. I'm assuming it has something to do with real estate, but we don't know. And it didn't really seem like he had any enemies. It's weird. It's a little weird one.
Yeah, this one's weird.
But there isn't a ton of information about it. There's a couple more links on Unsolved Mysteries wiki, but everything I looked at had kind of already the information we knew. So your guess to the motive is as good as mine.
I don't know.
Okay, it's time to rate it.
All right. Let's see. Our categories are mysteriousness,
Okay. I actually think this one's pretty mysterious because of the UFO and because of the case I just talked about. I don't think the light is mysterious and the lost love is just sad. But I'm going to give it mysterious because I'm not sure what really happened in the New Mexico desert and I'm not really sure what happened to David.
No, I think it's mysterious too. I think it deserves a thumbs up for sure.
And also, why are people willing to go to one specific location to hurt their eyeballs? That's kind of mysterious too.
Yeah, actually, that is mysterious. So thumbs up. Reenactments.
Okay, I actually thought the reenactments of the UFO and stuff, they're cheesy, but they're good. They were fun. I liked them.
Yeah, no, I think the UFO reenactment was good. I mean, they had the whole UFO thing, so
yeah. So I'll say good. I mean, the rest of them are more standard, but fine. You know.
Yeah, no, I think it was good. Thumbs up for sure on the reenactments. Fashion.
Kind of unremarkable.
Yeah, I don't know that anything like stood out fashion wise for me.
No, even the mustaches were pretty standard. Nothing is like, wow, that's the strangest mustache I've ever seen. There's really nothing to write home about. So thumbs down on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with thumbs down. Robert Stack.
Okay, he should have gone to that hill and hurt his eyes.
I kind of think he should have been on that hillside. I don't know why we're sending these correspondents to do Robert Stack's job, but
are we just always going to give Robert Stack a thumbs down now because of the correspondence? It was like, Robert Stack, get off your ass.
I don't know.
Yeah, thumbs down. Sorry.
I mean, maybe not always, but I feel like I really wanted to see him on that hillside.
I would love to see him go to a person. So you looked at the sun. Like, that would have been so amazing.
So you were seeing spots while you were looking at the sun.
Did you know that you're not supposed to look at the sun? Like, he just keeps saying it over and over again.
Perhaps you can solve a mystery.
Yeah. Perhaps you can stop staring at the sun.
Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, thumbs down. And then on our Robert Stack rating scale,
you know, it's a real mixed bag.
This is like a 50-50 because the unexplained death was fine. I mean, it was interesting. It was kind of like standard.
But it seems short. The unnecessary update is long.
We didn't need it. The lost love made me
too sad.
Horribly sad. So, but then the UFO was good. It was interesting. I like a UFO. And then
the miracle one.
The miracle one is wild. So
I'm gonna say 3.5.
Yeah, I think this is a 3.5, maybe even a 4 territory. If the last love wasn't so sad, or if we had like an uplifting lost love, this would be like a 4 easy.
Yeah. If it had like a better reunion or something
if there was something about it that was heartwarming instead of just soul crushing, I feel like this would easily be a 4 episode.
Yeah.
But I think the last love does knock it down to a 3.5, unfortunately.
I have to agree. Okay, do you have anything for our found loves segment?
Yeah, I do actually. Do you? Do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go first. Which I'm going to talk about how I've been watching a lot of bad movies on Tubi lately. Man, oh man, can't get enough. But I stumbled upon one that I actually thought was pretty good. So I'm going to recommend the movie The Changeling, the 1980 version. Okay. This is the one that's on Tubi. You could watch it for free. There's apparently a film from 2008 directed by Clint Eastwood. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one from 1980 that's starring George C. Scott, which is apparently Canadian and one of the first Canadian movies to do well. I don't know, whatever. But it's a haunted house story. It's a slow burn. I think it's done very well. And it's pretty grounded in reality in a way that's creepy to me. It's not scary. It's kind of the sort of thing that I'm looking for in a movie like this, where it's just spooky and creepy and the visuals are good, the acting is good. I kind of like the little twists that happen, but nothing in it is so it's not shocking, right?
Okay,
it's not
sure.
wow, right? What I thought was kind of interesting also, I just like the tone of it and the visuals of it and stuff like that. I found it to be a very enjoyable watch. And then I was looking up some information about it, and it turns out that it is inspired by what happened at the Henry Treat Rogers Mansion in Cheeseman Park, Denver, Colorado, which is when the playwright Russell Hunter was staying at that estate in the 60s, and then he started to experience some paranormal phenomena, and he found this old journal in a hidden room and ended up having a seance. And that's like what, which is all stuff that happens in the movie. So it's like based sort of on those real events, though the mansion, sorry, we can't go there. It was demolished in the 80s and is now a high-rise apartment building.
Oh, boo.
I know. But I think there is like a realism to the movie that really gives it something where you're like, yeah, I can kind of see this happening. Like it's not so over the top. It's just like an enjoyable little watch. I really liked it. I had never heard of it before, and I would definitely recommend checking that out. The
Nice.
Changeling.
Free on Tubi.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes, you know, you're much like the flea market. You know, we call the Tubi the flea market of those streaming services. You find a treasure, and you got, you know, you rummage through and you find one treasure every, you know, however many.
Yeah, like that's exactly what I am looking for in the Tubi experience, where I watch a lot of things and I go, wow, that was not good. No wonder that's on this free streaming site. Just a lot of stuff that's very forgettable. Like maybe it has a couple good actors you've heard of, but you're like, why have I never heard of this movie? And then you watch it and you go, oh, that's why.
That's why. Yeah.
It's very boring. But I thought this just had a spooky charm that I did appreciate. Okay, what about you?
I'm recommending a book that I read recently that is one of my new favorites, like of all time. So this is a book about a horse. Surprise, surprise. This is The $80 Champion, A Man, a Horse, and an Unstoppable Dream by Elizabeth Letts. This is the story of Snowman. Very funny name for a horse. He was named by a child. Surprise, surprise. Okay. Snowman was a former Amish plow horse in the 1950s who was purchased like literally on his way to be turned into dog food. He was purchased at an auction. He was purchased at an auction by like a kill buyer. And then he subsequently was found by a Dutch American immigrant who was at the time he was a like riding instructor at a girls' boarding school in Long Island.
Oh, interesting.
And he was like, at the time, if you worked in horses, like even though he worked for like very wealthy clients, he himself was an immigrant. He had like 5 kids to feed. He himself did not have much money. And so he went to this auction with $80. He had to provide the horses to the school. And so he didn't have the money to go out and buy expensive lesson horses. So, but he had a really good eye. He'd been, you know, back when he before he emigrated to the United States, he had ridden horses his entire life on his family's farm. And so he had a really good eye for horses. And so he was able to like go to these auctions and buy a horse that had potential, but maybe needed some TLC, and then add them to his lesson program. So that's what he was looking for when he went to this auction. He found Snowman like literally at the last minute. He like went to this auction late, got there late. There was like one truck leaving with like the leftover horses that didn't sell to go literally to become glue, right? And he like caught this horse's eye, bought this horse, and like the title suggests, Snowman went on to become a champion. He was called the Cinderella horse, and he kind of like inspired the nation. I loved this book. First of all, this story is like, you read the story, I mean, there's so much more to the story. Like at every twist and turn in the story, you think like this is the plot of a movie. This is not real life. It's the most heartwarming, enchanting story that I have heard in a long time. And I don't want to like spoil everything that happens in the book, but there is a moment where, so Snowman is like obviously winning, right? So we know that he becomes a champion. So he was like winning against like not only like the top horses in the country, but in the world. Like he would go to these shows where horses were flown in from Europe. This is in the 1950s, like literally the best horses in the world, the most expensive horses in the world. He was winning against these horses. But then he, like his owner, had a day job. Like during the week, he had to go back to the boarding school and teach lessons. And he was he was described as like this gentle, like unflappable horse, calm. You could put beginner riders on him. So he would go off to these shows on the weekends and win. And he was winning against these like very fancy, expensive horses. And then on the weekends, he would go and like lead the May Day parade. Like they would put pink ribbons in his mane and put him in front of the May Day parade. Or he would like take kids, like they would ride him bareback down to the water and go swimming with him. It's incredible. It's like the most magical story that I've read in a long time. If you need a feel good story, I mean, this is for you. I'm not normally like a sports nonfiction reader, but I like horses, so I picked this one up. And I can't recommend it enough. It's really good. It's really well written. The author clearly knows horses. She has like a very keen sense of like, you know, like what makes the relationship between a horse and rider special. And she writes about it in like a very poetic way. I loved it. I really did. I thought it was really good. Definitely recommend it. And I think there's also like a documentary, possibly also called The $80 Champion. I'm not sure. But I'm gonna look into watching that because I just love this story now.
Did the author mention what kind of whirls Snowman had?
You know, she didn't. I should look at a picture and see if that would maybe tell us something about how how it was that he was so sweet and kind, and despite like all that like humans did to him. You know,
yeah, because
he was literally like thrown away like garbage when he couldn't plow the fields.
I would say then people should be looking for horses with identical whirls to Snowman. See, I've learned one thing about horses in all the years we've done on this podcast.
They have whirls.
They have whirls, and people.
You know what? I don't know if Elfie has any whirls. I should go when I go out and see him today. I should see what his whirl. If donkeys also have whirls, I assume they do.
Also, I'm assuming that Snowman was from a time before T-Touch. So just think of what a champion he could have been. If the T-Touch had been invented, it would have restructured his brain.
It would have changed his brain chemistry.
Yeah.
If you could have unlocked quite a champion if you had just drawn little circles all over him with your fingers.
I keep trying to do T-Touch on my dogs, and we'll get through like 3 circles before they like move or whatever.
It's also very boring.
It's real boring.
And I just petting them. I mean, you could just pet them, I think, and have the same result. But
if you're on our $5 Patreon level where you get coloring sheets, our last coloring sheet for last month for June was instructions on how to do T-Touch. So make sure you sign up if you're interested in doing T-Touch. If you have no idea what we're talking about, I think that was our last episode, or the one before that was about a animal healing technique. Yeah, Samantha's actually an expert in.
I am a practitioner of T-Touch, yeah.
That's what I tell everyone about you.
It's on my resume now.
You might as well put it as special skills.
Special skills.
T-Touch. T-Touch. Have you done more T-Touch than the hiring manager, probably? So
that's probably very true.
Okay, I think that is it. We should have one more episode before we go on hiatus. You should definitely sign up for our Patreon.
We'll keep the content rolling over there, assuming we can make that happen. We will do that.
Our latest Patreon bonus episode was about the X-Files. Once again, it was about the Scully-centric episode Beyond the Sea. So I'm sure you want to hear me sing badly and then also talk about that episode. Why wouldn't you, right?
Yeah, it's a given.
Yeah, so...
Plus, it's only $1. I mean, come on.
It's a better deal every second.
We have like 65 bonus episodes on Patreon. If you haven't already given us $1, what are you doing? Like, you're going to get all this extra content.
As inflation continues to rise, our Patreon is just a better and better deal. So you got to spend money to make money. I don't know. Sign up. That makes sense, right?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Keep working. Bye.